Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are doing a 12 by 12 scrapbooking layout using the, what is it, Fairy Garden, right? Yes, Fairy Garden collection from Fancy Pants Designs. My first project was a traveler's notebook sized one, and I just thought we should do a 12 by 12 for the other one. I like to vary it up on how I use certain collections, but don't get me wrong, I've been sitting here and I've been scrolling Instagram for inspiration, and sometimes when I find a collection hard to work with, I always think of like my rules in mixed media, where you can kind of make a mess, but then use like a punch to cut areas out, and then you can make it work a little bit more. Simply because, and don't get me wrong, I did think about doing just like an art journal, maybe like a junk journal page with it, because it does have this feel of collage and like patchwork glued together. Not all of them, but some of them, like this one too. Like I could definitely like cut apart some of these and then do something messy in the background. And don't get me wrong, I could still do that, because I do like to think outside the proverbial box on how to use a paper collection. So I could, but at the same time I was like, I really like these purple papers, like this one, and this one is why I was like, I really like the purple one. So let's see if I can just use them truly in some capacity. So what I am inspired to do is cut out circles, and this is my 2.5 inch punch. Cut said circles in half, and then either arrange them as like rows of the half circles, so they almost look like the scalloped edge, which I am thinking. Or I saw someone's layout that had the half circles just stacked in opposite directions. So this column would all have like the top of the circle all the way down, and then this one was the bottom of the circle, and you just rotated that. And I liked the look of it. It was simple and clean, but it worked for a busy paper. And so yeah, because 2.5 inches, that means I would get, what is that into 12, about 5 across, which would work too. So that's where I'm at so far, just circles, and we'll see. I haven't printed a photo, I haven't done anything, but let's start with the top of this page. And I could do 2-inch circles. Nah, but I like the big ones, because that way you'll see more of the paper. So let's just get cutting some circles. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so take your 3-inch punch, or was this 2.5? I think it was 2.5 maybe, and just go to town cutting whatever pattern paper you want to show off or showcase. In this regard, like I said, I was kind of showing off this beautiful paper. So once they were all cut out, I cut all of them down the middle. That's as simple as it gets. So once I did it, and then I tried, you saw me do one on the paper trimmer, and then I was like, you know what, I can just do this with my long blade scissors. These are like the 9-inch Ranger ones from Tim Holtz that I have 2 sets of. That's how much I love these long 9-inch blade scissors. So then I did all that. I have a basil piece of white cardstock, and then I'm just arranging it. I'm so sorry, my camera must have leaned over, but I do catch it shortly, and I will have it in a better angle. All right, there I go. See, I saw I fixed it. I was like, oh my God. So here I am auditioning. Do I like it opposite ways going? Do I like it all the same size? How many can I fit in a row? Do I want to smash them closer together? Here I am smashing them closer together to increase one more row. Playing with all of it. Do I want them to be fully filling the page on the vertical, because I do have that whole pile of extra half circles on the left of that side. And in the end, I like them alternating. And in the end, even though you'll see me audition them going to the edge of the paper, I like the white border. So that was my final decisions on all of this. This worked out really good with this sort of like monochromatic pattern paper, because it was monochromatic. So no matter which way I had these going, the arrangement still looked intentional and still was cohesive, because that paper lent itself to be a very like collage looking paper, and worked well for this technique. Now, I simply got the whole idea of half circles from like obviously another creator, probably scrolling on Instagram. And I just took my own spin on it and made it my own for this design team project. And so I just loved the way that showed up. And then finding a picture actually once I went on my camera roll was actually quite easy. So these two were taken on my birthday. This was back in June. And believe it or not, I think I have a daughter photographer. My daughter snapped these photos right when we got home. I had just gotten done. On my birthday, I went for cut color blowout, and then we went around to the fast food restaurants and picked up like all my little freebies with her. So like Starbucks and Firehouse Stubs and the Bunt Cake Store and Bole, and just got all my little free birthday items that you get when you either are a customer or even have the app. That's how I get most of them. Most, not to say most, like a lot of places offer a little birthday treat of some sort, so we went around like for an hour and collected them. Thankfully most of the stores that are there or around are on like one major like 4-lane street, highway near us, so that's made it easy. So yeah, these pictures are just me holding balloons that I had gotten from my staff at the office, and then yeah, like I said, my daughter took them, and honestly, they were perfect. Even the sun rays behind it were perfect. And now, granted, it was a time of day, probably an easy shot, but I gave her a lot of props for taking two really good photos of mommy, and you know how that makes mommy's heart so happy. So yeah, these pictures are from Valentina on my birthday, taken with perfection. And yeah, so they were perfect, and they were softer colors, so the photos lent themselves to the layout itself. And actually, now that I'm watching the footage too, I apologize. I did take the half circles up to the top and the bottom of the page and just left the white border on the left and the right side. So either way would have worked, even if the white border stayed all the way around, but I was just viewing my layout itself. I was like, oh, I did take it to the edge. I forgot. So I'm using some foam thickers from previous collections. Being on the Fancy Pants design team, obviously, like I said, I was sent this collection to show off and show you in projects. So this particular one, I believe, I'm not even going to guess. I'm not even going to guess which collection this was from, but it's from last quarter's releases, because this quarter's releases didn't have any titles or foam thickers, which is unfortunate because I love a good title, and we always need a title. So this is why I was digging through other Fancy Pants stuff. So at least the whole layout featured Fancy Pants items. And I think I just go with beautiful at the top, if I remember correctly. And so this whole collection, it's called Fairy Garden. It lends itself to these lovely little illustrations of fairies. And so I do make it kind of an effort to make 3 little locations where the fairies are kind of grouped or gathered together. That way, that whole visual triangle is on the page. And then kind of best suiting which one would work. And always a good flower. I can throw on flowers on any layout whatsoever. So adding a few florals with the little fairies. Oh, so precious. Very whimsical, and very actually appropriate for a birthday layout. And this one, whenever I'm done with 12 by 12s, I have the back of my door to my craft room. I have clear mounted clips to my wall where I can display, I think, 12 layout. So it goes like 5 deep and it's 4 wide. Is that 12? 5? Yeah, actually, no, 5 times 4, that's 20. 20 layouts. I have 20 layouts on my wall, but I might be a row short, so it might be 16, 4 and 4. And it's a nice little way to have them kind of be on display, show them off a little bit before they go in an album, because otherwise, for some, this just goes straight into an album and a page protector. And que sera, sera. But for me, I like to have them displayed, and then as I make more, whichever ones have been on there the longest, I then put into an album. Or some of them still stay a longevity just because they may be, one of my favorites. I'm not going to lie, there are some favorites up there. But I think a display wall would be nice. And so there's clear little clips that have like almost like command hooks, but they're little like clips and they're clear. And that's how I have them on my wall. That way there's no metal clip or a black clip like that holds them, the fact that they're clear. And honestly, they were from Amazon. They were great. It was a pack of like, I don't know if I have 12 up there, so probably 16, 20 clips or so in that pack, and it works out good to display. And so here I am just kind of sprinkling in a few more stickers and icons. If you're familiar, I think I did on the unboxing, usually the icon pack mimics a lot of the stickers, so in essence you have 2 of everything, which is kind of nice. And I just use a variety of stickers and or the ephemera pack. And I'm just finishing off most likely with some of the enamel dots from the collection, and I'm reinforcing it with some glue. Sometimes when I take off the enamel dots, the glue stays behind, like the stubborn glue that it is, and so I just have to reinforce it when I put it on the layout, and that's all that is showing. And so yeah, that will wrap up my lovely purple half circle infused fairy garden layout showing off photos from my birthday. Okay, everyone, that will wrap up this one. So pretty. I got little like motifs of the little fairy people around the photo and then up there. So it's like 1, 2, 3. Got that triangle thing going on there, right? And then I balanced it out with the black and the black. So as best I could, you know, with the collection. So this is my second project with the Fairy Garden collection that I'm keeping. But thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Give this video a thumbs up. And until next time, everyone, bye.